When we speak to Phil Kitramilides, he always says the success of Barcelona or Real Madrid is always determined by their success, but also how the other team is doing. So for Barcelona to win yesterday, win La Liga off this horrible week for Real Madrid, probably made it a lot better for them, Aaron.
Yeah, I don't know if you could concoct a better scenario for a Barcelona supporter to win a Clásico, win the league, see all the headlines around Real Madrid. The only way it would be better is if they were in the Champions League final. But aside from that, this is the dream scenario for them. They're in heaven right now.
Yeah, I think the fact that Real Madrid is walking away from two nadapletes back-to-back makes this even sweeter for Barcelona, because I do think this Barcelona was put together to achieve even greater things than just winning La Liga back-to-back. But what you do need to give credit to Hansi Flick is that if you asked us this 2 years ago, I don't think we'd be saying what we're saying today about Barcelona, because Hansi Flick has restored the aura of Barcelona in its very own unique style, by the way.
I think he's done a great job of restoring what I remember as Barcelona, and a lot of us remember as Barcelona, because you've got two really distinct styles in Spain. You got Barcelona style and you got Real Madrid style, and people will argue about what Real Madrid style is right now, but he's got them back to the Barcelona DNA. Now for me, he's got to take the next step. And I think for Hansi Flick, he probably tell you as well, right? He's got to take the next step, and that's a Champions League title. They were so close last year, and we argue about this high line. Again, as a neutral to this game or a neutral to watching Barcelona, I love what they do. I love the risk they take. It's fun for me to watch. If I was a Barcelona fan, I'd probably, it would drive you crazy every single week. But again, I'm a neutral. I just want to see teams go on attack and have fun. And, man, he's really entertained the footballing world with the way this team plays.
And I think that's part of the Barca DNA, right? To make it exciting football. Remember back in the heyday when La Liga was in its golden age, like 10 years ago? Barca was must-watch. Barca Madrid was much-watched because you had Messi and Ronaldo. Every Saturday, every Sunday, I would make sure that I took 2 hours out of my day to watch them. And after Messi left, it felt like Barca dropped off. And for the first time post-Messi, Hansi Flick made Barca must-watch football. Does it have its flaws? Sure, it has its flaws, but it's delivered two back-to-back uncontested La Ligas. And there's a lot of credit in that. So that's part of the Barca DNA. What's also part of the Barca DNA is La Masia. He's using a lot of these youngsters. This is a very young team. A lot of these guys with perhaps not protagonistic roles before Hansi Flick, they've come in and they've been such a critical component of the success of Barcelona. And that's very refreshing to see as well.
Hansi Flick understands this club, I think, at his core, at their core. Barcelona have to win, but they have to win playing attractive football. They have to win using the youth. They have to win bravely, and Hansi Flick has done all of that. He's not going to change his style. He's just going to ask for better players so he can really play his style. So I think this next season upcoming is going to be really, really interesting. If they can have a good summer, this Barcelona team will be terrifying because they're not going to change how they play. But if they do have higher quality players, then they are a really, really scary prospect.
Tony, is it safe to argue that for Hansi Flick to be ranked amongst one of the best Barcelona managers with the Pep Guardiolas and Luis Enriques, he has to win in Europe?
Yeah, and the Cruyffs, right? Yeah, no doubt about it. He's got to win in Europe, and I think he'll tell you the same thing. If he looks, and I don't know, you'd have to go back and sort of do a historical look at how these managers were, but he looks to me like really comfortable. Where I've always had this image of Barcelona managers always being stressed. I say the same thing about Real Madrid as well, right? But always being stressed. He clearly went through something really traumatic on the weekend with his dad passing. He's gotten the support of the club, as you would expect that he would, but he seems really calm in the moment, right? He has said time and time again how much he loves being at this club. He's only been there 2 years. He doesn't have like a Pep Guardiola and Luis Enrique or Cruyff, where he had the DNA in him for a long time, right? This was a job that he took, and he's sort of embraced this thing. They've embraced him, and he looks very comfortable. Heck, if they wanted to get rid of him, they would have gotten rid of him now, because if they didn't like the style of football, right, this high line and everything that everybody argues with, they would have said, Hansi, no, this isn't working, right? But again, he's gotten them back to, as Nico says, the DNA of Barcelona, and that's why I think this has been a really good marriage.
You know what's a good example of entering Barcelona's greatest managers pantheon, but only to enter there, you need to win the Champions League? Think about Ernesto Valverde's Barcelona. They were extraordinary. That team was an amazing Barcelona team. Nobody remembers, or at least nobody puts Ernesto Valverde's Barcelona in that pantheon. Right. He never won Champions League. He's going to be remembered for losing a Champions League semifinal up 3-0. And that Barcelona team was much better than, being remembered for just the team that lost in the semifinal to Liverpool in 2019. That team was extraordinary, and that's why I say that perhaps it feels a little bit underwhelming, but I think you can stand on Real Madrid not winning anything this year for Barcelona. Yeah. This team is good enough to go ahead and win Champions League. There was a couple of hurdles that they tripped over in the Copa del Rey to Atletico Madrid, in the Champions League quarterfinals to Atletico Madrid. I think that is underperforming for the expectations of this Barcelona.
So say if Real Madrid went and won the Champions League, you think it'd be a different story with this Barca, would it?
Yeah, but Real Madrid is so far away from winning the Champions League that it's not even a discussion. They are the very deserved La Liga champions, and I don't think there's any blemish on this campaign in La Liga, if you just take La Liga. But I do think they would have wanted to shoot a little bit higher, don't you think?
The part of the headline, the sin rival, right? That's like a big part, excuse me, I'll get my words out. That's a big part of it, right? Is that there was no rival, right, in this. What are they, 14 points ahead now? I don't know what it'll end up, but...
they could set the record for most points in a Liga season.
Yeah. Let's kind of look ahead, though, to next season, because this Barca squad could look different, Aaron. Yeah. Robert Lewandowski's out of contract. He's reportedly not going to accept the offer that Barcelona have made him because he'd have to take a big pay cut. Do you think he'll be there next season? And if not, who could replace him?
I don't think Lewandowski will be at Barcelona next season, especially having won the league. I think he can go out on a high. He's scored an incredible amount of goals for this club. If there's one name you're going to pick, it's probably going to be Julian Alvarez.
Do you think that's a viable option, Alvarez?
The thing is that he's at a direct rival. I think Atleti's going to want to do the most to keep him.
Agreed.
I think Victor Osimhen is a good shout.
Another great shout, yes.
Especially with the way that Lamine Yamal is playing, and if you could restore Rafinha, by the way. Because losing Lewandowski, I don't think is that big of a deal, because Lewandowski had a worse season than a year ago, right?
And Ferran stepped up for that.
This wasn't Lewandowski's La Liga. It was Ferran's Liga, and it was Fermin's Liga. It wasn't even Rafinha's Liga. He was out for so long, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that worrisome that Lewandowski's moving away. But if you want to go out and take the next step, which is Champions League or bust type of mentality, which I do think Barca has anyway, but you can rest on these laurels of winning La Liga, I think a guy like Victor Osimhen definitely helps you take, obviously, and Julian Alvarez helps you take that step into the next direction.
Tony, hot topic with Barcelona is the high line. What centre-back would you want to see them bring in for next season?
I like Antonio Silva, the youngster from Benfica. Yeah, I covered him in Champions League a couple times. He kind of fits the style here. But then you're bringing in another young center-back. I wonder if they go a little bit more experienced, right? Which then again, you question the legs. Can you play higher up the field like that? The way Hansi Flick plays takes a very special sort of center-back. Kubarsi, I think he's still 19 years old. He may have turned 20 by now, but the guy's going to be there for 10 years. They need a partner with him. If they can grow with another young center back, if you're going to make mistakes with young center backs and grow into your system. But yeah, I would think he's a guy that they would look at. Some of the bigger names, it's so hard to tell at the big clubs who's going to. Will Guardiola, I know, has been rumored at points. Does Man City let him go? Like guys like that we already know of. But Antonio Silva is just somebody that caught my eye.
I really like that name.
Yeah,
you don't like him, but Nico Schlotterbeck, I think, is a guy that they might take a look at. Another one that I was kind of thinking, who kind of fits in their style? Who is a name you might not be thinking of? Murillo from Nottingham Forest. I think Nottingham have played in a high line. He is a player who has pace. He can play the ball out of the back. And I think he's one of those guys who could step into a bigger team and really make the leap.
It's a bit of a reach when you say Nottingham Forest has played in a back line, because they played in a back line and they were historically disastrous.
I think Murillo is a player that could make that jump, though.
Listen, I don't care who it is. I do think, Tone, that they need to pair somebody with experience alongside Cubarsí.
Yeah.
Someone that has leadership in the back line, someone that can defend with space behind their back. I thought they had something extraordinary going with Íñigo Martínez and Cubarsí. Perfect complement to the youth of Cubarsí. And that is going to be so key in having success for the future.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.